Outside of Minecraft, as well as No Man's Sky, I am a person of many interests. Some of them might surprise you. Actually, I'd like you to tell me what surprises you the most. So, why don't we go through this? And this is going to be things that I really was a major geek about in the past as well as the present. So, going way back to the 1980s, I was a huge Transformers fan. I had Transformers toys. I watched the entire TV series, as well as the 1986 movie. And years later, I bought the full DVD set of the TV series. Got it somewhere. And recently I discovered that Hasbro's YouTube channel has the entire TV series on its channel. Yeah, I'm going to be watching it. I am actually still quite a bit of a fan of Transformers, except for Michael Bay's movies. I'm not a big fan of those. I like the originals so much more. Although Transformers 1, which I have not watched yet, I've seen clips of it. I do like the fact that a lot of the designs are similar to Generation 1. So yeah, there's that. So I guess that is one that I'm interested in watching. Now, the next thing is Garfield. I discovered Garfield in the early 80s, and I ended up getting a lot of the compilation books. And a bit over 20 years ago, I decided to start collecting them. And I did buy a good number of them, but then I ended up stopping when I moved to Japan. But since then, I haven't really done much about Garfield, although I would like to read it again. I was reading it quite a bit on the official Garfield website, but that's changed so much that it's actually almost impossible to read on my phone. I just ended up stopping. I'd get the books, though. Yeah, definitely. Next one is Star Trek. I became a Star Trek fan, even though I had watched some of it in the early 80s. Well, not the early 80s, but around maybe 1986, 87, even earlier than that. But I didn't really become a big fan of it until I started watching Star Trek The Next Generation, probably around 80, 88, 89, something like that. And then I was really into it. And I even went to some Star Trek conventions once I knew how to drive. So when I turned 16, I went to 4 straight Star Trek conventions with one of my best friends, and well, a few others. My sister came with me once, and yeah, I have met a few of the actors. Marina Sirtis, who was Counselor Troy, Michael Dorn, who was Worf, as well as James Doohan, who was Scotty. Oh, I have to say, James Doohan was the absolute nicest guy. Really nice. Marina Sirtis was quite nice as well. Although I have interacted with her on social media, and she does respond. I'm pretty sure she doesn't remember me, though, considering it was like a 30-second interaction with her. But yeah, I've watched nearly every series up until, well, Discovery. I haven't watched all of Discovery. Been meaning to finish it, and Strange New Worlds, and all of them. I've watched some of Picard, but I do plan on getting caught up with all of them, and I don't discriminate. I like it all. But my favorite is, of course, Next Generation. Favorite character? Data. Yeah, definitely like Data. And next up is anime. When I was in university, I discovered it. Yeah. I was already interested in Japan itself, and in my second year of university, I took a Japanese class, and my interest in anime deepened, and I watched a lot. Found out that our local Blockbuster had a lot of videotapes. This is before DVDs, by the way. So I ended up renting out pretty much every single anime videotape that they had. And once DVDs came, I got myself a DVD player, and I was buying DVDs. But even before that, I was getting fan subs of stuff that I had that wasn't released commercially. These days, you can watch almost everyone streaming. It's so easy to find, but these days I do occasionally watch. I don't watch a whole lot, but I used to watch so much. I would watch a couple videotapes a week, and I was a member of the local anime club in Victoria. And there was one point where the outgoing president asked me if I wanted to run for president. Like, no thanks, not interested. I just want to watch. And when I moved to Japan, I actually stopped watching anime altogether. I watched very little when I was there. I watched a little bit of Dot Hack Sign. No, not Dot Hack Sign. That's older. Dot Hack Roots. That's what I watched. And not really anything else. I really did not watch much. And it's kind of funny that I didn't really watch much when I was there. I ended up just mainly watching comedy variety shows on TV, as well as some sports. Usually sumo. I really got into sumo. But yeah, these days, since I did live in Japan, and I really do want to keep up my listening skills for Japanese, I watch anime occasionally. And yeah, I do plan on studying more. I need to find a really good system for studying. Yeah. Next up, dinosaurs. I was a huge dinosaur nerd. Actually, I still like dinosaurs, but I'm not as crazy as I was back then. I was so into it that I was considering studying paleontology in university. And I'll get into what I did end up studying in university next. But sometimes I think back and think that I really should have studied geology, because I did take some geology in university. And I really enjoyed it. And I think that geology would have been a far better thing to go into, because there's so many different kinds of jobs I could have had with geology. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, I did find this one dinosaur book in our local library, and it was full of illustrations of skeletons and skulls and things like that. And I had some tracing paper, and I wouldn't trace the bones themselves, but I would draw my own reconstructions of the dinosaurs. How's that for being a dinosaur geek, huh? Whoops. I did not mean to do that. All right, so the next one is astronomy. And I was absolutely obsessed with mainly planets. And I was so into it that that's what I studied in university. I have a degree. I have a degree in astronomy. And I did do something with it at one point. And that was I worked in a space science museum, and I did planetarium shows, and as well as physics demonstrations and things like that, because the other half of my degree was physics. And I did officially use it for my job in Japan, because you need to have a degree to work in Japan, and that's what I used to teach English. But the good thing was I was good at English too. But yeah, that's that. And oh yeah, last year I finally got a telescope. And I still need to use it. Actually, I'm thinking this summer I'm going to bring it outside and actually use it. Because my oldest daughter has developed an interest in astronomy as well. And, you know, during summer, it's you can stay up late. There's no school. So maybe we'll go outside and take a look at the stars and planets. I think that's a good idea. Next up is science fiction and fantasy novels. I used to read them like crazy. And I was even considering writing science fiction. I was developing a world. So this is the world building thing, which I'm doing in Minecraft in Labyrinthum. And I really enjoy world building so much that one of my other obsessions I will talk about next, actually. But science fiction and fantasy, I love both of them. Science fiction more for things like Star Trek, right? And I found that I enjoyed creating science fiction, but I loved reading fantasy more. So it's a bit of a combination there. I do like to read science fiction as well, but my science fiction idea was to kind of combine fantasy with science fiction. So I'd have an actual sci-fi explanation for the ability to do what looks like magic, but it turns out it's telekinetic abilities, ability to manipulate energy and stuff like that. That was my idea. And only people that were born there. This is like a planetary colonization story, and I even going into the next part, geography. Huge geography nut. Am I a nut or am I geek? Yeah. So yeah, I was still am a big geography geek, nerd, whatever you want to say. Loved maps all my life. I just give me a book of maps and I'll look through the whole thing. And so I look at Google Maps a lot, Google Earth as well. And that's why I also love looking at things like this. So we got maps, which I can build in, right? So part of what I love doing is just looking at this and seeing how things have changed. As you can see, I have the outlines of buildings here. And I want to see how it looks over time. But as for the real world, I loved looking at atlases and maps, paper maps, because when I was a kid, that's all we had. And I'd look at road maps all the time. And my grandparents gave me this set of maps of the states, U.S. states, and there were 50 maps, and each one was a different state. And those maps have got to be in a box in storage under the stairs. But I loved looking at them, and it was, I don't know, it was the maybe around 1991, maybe around 1991. My grandparents, the ones that gave me the maps, proposed that one summer I go on a road trip with them in with their trailer. So we go camping, and we would travel around the United States. And it's like I just thought that was such an amazing idea. I was so looking forward to doing it, but it never happened, which is really unfortunate. Because I was really close with my grandparents, and it would have been like a trip of a lifetime, especially for a teenager who loved geography. And yeah, that's one thing that would have been a lot of fun. But anyways, going back to the science fiction thing, the world that I created, I drew the entire world map, and I drew every single country that would develop in this world over millennia. And I was giving them names and all that stuff. And it was just a really fun activity. I was really hoping that I could develop this world into a novel, a series of novels. Maybe I will someday. I still have that world and that idea fresh in my mind because I developed it quite a lot. And I remember a lot of details about it. Okay. Next up is... This one's going to be a little brief, but I used to read encyclopedias for fun. I would just read them, you know? I was given a set of encyclopedias from this other grandparents. No, the same grandparents, yeah. And they were old. They were from the 60s. This is in the 80s, so they were, at the time, around 20 years old. And... which is crazy because the 80s are now 40 years ago. So, it's just crazy thinking about the amount of time that's passed. But unfortunately, my grandfather forgot that they gave them to me, and they were in his will to be given to my cousin. So we had to give them to my cousin, even though they were given to me originally. And I had them for over 10 years. Yeah. But just to prove I'm not a total geek, not 100% geeky nerd, I do like other things. I really like cars. I loved cars when I was a teenager. I still really like cars. I like watching car reviews. I like going to car shows. I went to a car show a couple months ago and drove a Cadillac Lyric. They were allowing people to test drive electric cars. And I didn't have much time, so I just decided, okay, I really like the way the Cadillac Lyric looks on the inside. It just seems so futuristic. Great big screen. Everything is a screen. The whole dash, the instrument panel, everything. It's just screen. So I wanted to try driving that one. And I found it wasn't really that powerful, but it was their cheapest electric vehicle. I could have tried the Escalade, which quite honestly looked even more futuristic inside. But I could have driven a Hummer. Yeah, I could have driven the electric Hummer, which also would have been interesting. But so you know that I was in a car accident recently, and I drove a Ford Focus. Nothing flashy, but the thing that I am really hoping to get is a Subaru Crosstrek. I would love to have a hybrid, but we'll see. So yeah, big car geek. More so when I was a teenager. These days, I'm just more interested in the practicalities of them. Then let's get on to something a little bit more sports related. I am a huge hockey fan. I am really big Edmonton Oilers fan. I have been since the early 80s, really, since the dynasty years, Wayne Gretzky and all that stuff, winning Stanley Cups 5 times in 7 years. And I'm still a fan. I've never not been a fan of them. So yeah, I just love the team. I love the sport, and I was a big, still am, statistics geek, and I used to look at the newspaper and compile the stats every single day. So yeah, this is for all the players in the NHL. I used to do that. Of course, there's no point in doing that now because it's done for you on the internet. But I didn't have that. Not at all back then. Very few people had internet in the early 90s. That was almost exclusively university and government and, you know. But, yeah. Big hockey fan. I also used to play hockey, so I played for several years. And I was a pretty good skater. Not really an offensive player. I did play right wing. But I was always the kind of kid who didn't want to be in the spotlight, so I never really tried to score goals. Which is really dumb. I wish I actually tried, because I feel like I probably could have been pretty good. And last, this is kind of a combination thing. Hiking. I love hiking. I have climbed mountains. I have walked 35 kilometers in one day before. And I still enjoy going into forests and going on trails, and I just like hiking, being in the outdoors and seeing things. Like even just walking through cities. I like to see everything around me. I love exploring. And when I was in Japan, I used to go to a train station and explore the entire neighborhood looking for shrines, temples, parks, maybe if there are any museums, interesting or beautiful views, you know. I used to do that, and I just wanted to feel the atmosphere of the location. But going into today, I spend, well, before the accident, and hopefully I'm going to be able to get back to it soon, because I am feeling better, except I'm often have a sore back. I would like to get back to going to the gym. My wife and I were going to the gym about 4 or 5 times a week, and I spend a lot of time on the treadmill. But I want to do that. I want to get to doing some strength training as well. But yeah, that was something that I have done quite a lot in recent months. I would like to get back to hiking, of course, go into the ravines around here, going outside the city, perhaps to some hiking areas nearby. Yeah, I would love to do that because it's something I just really enjoy. But you remember the question that I asked? What surprised you the most about the things that I've been really obsessed about? Let me know in the comments below and share what you like to do. If there's any similarities, let me know. If you like videos like this and would like to see some more, then please consider subscribing to this channel as well as my main one. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.